How's it going, everyone? I'm Chase Lee reporting for DallasMovieScreens.com, and I got another movie review for you guys, and that would be Arsenal. Have you ever heard of this one? Probably not. It's only opening up in like 10 theaters, but this is the Nicolas Cage movie. It also stars John Cusack, Adrian Grenier, and it's like a mob crime thriller almost. I was looking forward to it because I thought there might be some enjoyment. Because Mr. Cage, he always likes to be over the top and bring that enjoyment. I still think Face Off is one of the best like masterpiece of cheese that you'll ever see in your life. It's fantastic. But I was looking forward to it. Maybe some fun, maybe some drunk fun. It was terrible. And I'm going to do my best to try to break this down as much as I can so I don't seem like I'm just blatantly attacking this movie. I'm just going to give you my reasons. I'm going to try to be as detailed as possible so I can make my claim. Because I'll guarantee you a lot of people that worked on this film are going to find this review, and I'm not attacking you in particular. I just do not like the film, and I'm going to explain why. So let's get real and break down Arsenal. So we'll start with the writing and directing. Now, for the writing, I got to do it in three separate sections because I cannot just lump it together and just say, well, that's bad, and that's bad. I have to really be specific on this one just so it can be as clear as possible. So I'm going to do story, writing, and characters. So starting with the story itself, I thought it was a very standard mob crime thriller. There's really nothing new about this movie that kind of breaks grounds in that genre, if you will. It felt very very flat and just very kind of rushed together, very disjointed. There's a lot of things going on, and I feel like at its core, there's three separate movies when you have the mobster played by Nicolas Cage, and you have John Cusack and his relationship with Adrian Grenier's character, and then you have the brother relationship between Adrian Grenier and his brother in the movie. I feel like those are three separate movies, and they were trying to meld into one. I didn't really feel that connective tissue working as well as the director wanted it to. So the story itself, not very interesting to begin with. And it was honestly kind of boring. Just the way the story kind of played out. Like I said, with the clunkiness of it, it kind of drags out the time a little bit more than what you want. And so it just didn't really grab me as much as I thought it would be. The writing in like dialogue and just the way the movie is kind of written in that regard, I thought was very generic. You know what's really interesting is like, if you're going to make a movie with Nicolas Cage and you go B-movie or you go over the top with the acting, you need to have the best one-liners. You need to have dialogue that is memorable. Everything that was uttered by all the actors in this movie, it just felt super forced, and I was not convinced whatsoever about what they were saying. And just like I said, all the lines just seemed very, very generic and didn't really have any substance or oomph to it. I wasn't expecting like The Godfather, but I wanted some emotional, intensity from the dialogue and the characters to make us actually care about them when they're in a dire situation like they are at the very end of the movie. So, I just thought the dialogue, for as corny and cheesy as the movie was, I was expecting it to go a little bit overboard with the dialogue. I would have been okay with that, but it was just very kind of average, which is very weird for this type of movie. Character-wise, I thought all the characters were dumb as hell, and I thought some of them were actually making decisions that contradict to what their character mentioned like 10 minutes earlier. There's even a couple of characters in the movie that even say what we're thinking as an audience member, going, why would you do that? Like, well, that's stupid. Do you think he's scamming you? And it's like, well, yeah, he's doing that. Like, it was kind of amazing to see these characters go through this situation. And yes, it is a very dire situation from the plot where someone's got to go save his kidnapped brother. But the main character, Adrian Grenier, makes a lot of very rash decisions that are very just jumping the gun, and it just felt rushed, and it didn't feel like it had time to breathe. It was just like, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do this scene, and we got to do this side plot over here. And it's just like, whoa, why don't we have like some emotional weight with that scene that was like 20 minutes ago? And also the characters themselves, all of them are very unlikable. Like, it's very interesting to have like this movie where you're supposed to be rooting for the person that's kidnapped, and he's the one that's kind of a dick. So I didn't really buy into it. Like I said, not expecting like an Oscar-worthy picture. I just wanted to have something to care about because I did not care about the characters. I thought it was very sloppily done to where I didn't care about anything or anyone that would happen in the movie because there was no weight to anything. You know what I'm saying? So for all those three aspects, the writing is just not there. Directing wise, this is where the movie faults the most, because you are responsible for constructing the story. It did not work at all. Like I said, it felt like it was 3 separate movies, which irritated the hell out of me. Another thing with the directing, this person has an obsession with gratuitous violence that doesn't match the story, overuse of slow-mo, and terrible overblown color correction that looks, I hate to say it, lazy and amateurish. It just does. It looks like a student project. So for those 3 aspects alone, the directing is just flushed down the toilet. And I feel sorry for these actors because they look committed. They look like they're in a committed role, and they're committed in the movie. And it doesn't look like anyone was doing for a paycheck. And if you were, congratulations, you fooled me. But I was never convinced by their acting and their characters and their actions and their dialogue. I never felt once like I was into this world and this high octane thriller of someone trying to save their brother. Like I never ever felt that. And that's the director's job, is to get the best performances out of the actor, and they all seem stale. All of them did. And even Mr. Cage, like Nicolas Cage, listen, he was over the top in this movie. But even him, he didn't like really convince me of being like this mob boss. It's like I realized he was committed and he was going over the top and he was doing his Cageisms, but I just never felt it. So going into the acting now, since that's the director's main objective, is I'm kind of in the middle with everyone. Everyone's not like clearly awful, and then everyone is not clearly good either. It's just kind of like a middle of the road where it's like I feel like they signed on. They read the script and it looked, pretty intriguing to join this project. And like I said, everyone looks committed, but no one is convincing in the roles that they are. And speaking of conviction, this film is perfect for the fake Hollywood world of Entourage. You know why I say that? Because Adrian Grenier is in this movie. Now listen, I'm going to say something pretty controversial, and you take it as you will. Listen, Adrian Grenier, if you watch this, I love Entourage. That was one of my favorite binges last year. I went through all 8 seasons and I watched the movie twice. I love that show. However, I think that show cursed you. It's the same thing with like Elijah Wood and Frodo, or when you have certain people play, superheroes. It's just you are synonymous with that character. It is hard to separate you. I see nothing but Vincent Chase. This is a personal issue. It's not you as the viewer issue. This is just my issue because I binge watched the show and all I see is him as his Entourage character. I don't see him as anything else. That is my fault. I see that Adrian is trying. I just have never been convinced outside of his show that he can be any other character and inhabit it. So, yeah, I think everyone is just fine. It could have been worse. It could have been a lot better, but I just thought everyone was middle of the road. And shout out to Todd Jenkins, who is in this movie. I've actually worked with that guy. He's a really cool actor and a really nice guy. So, yeah, it was really cool to see him. I was just like, oh man, because I was watching on my couch and I remember like I saw him on the screen. And I was like, oh, that's Todd. What's up, man? So, yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. So shout out to you, sir. Cinematography is terrible. I think the whole film is super shoddy and it's just really just messy. Like, listen, I do not mind Handycam whatsoever, but when you have it to make it look like some a dog with epilepsy is behind the camera and not like a human being, it's just all over the place and doesn't have no idea where it wants to be or where it wants to go, what shot wants to stay on. It's just kind of like all over the place, and it happens primarily in the action sequences, which makes it rough to see. So I think the cinematography is all around bad, but that overblown color correction, the overblown contrast from the sun outside and the outside shots versus like the inside kind of darkness of a house or whatever, it's so drastically different. It doesn't have a consistent tone in the way it looks, lighting and color wise, and it just throws you off. It's just all over the place. It's so overblown. Why? So yeah, with the cinematography, I will say this: there are a few shots that were very slow, and they're, you know, a nice dolly shot, and they have some interesting lighting that kind of set the mood and the atmosphere, and it's actually on a tripod. Those shots were fine. It's just the handy cam ridiculousness of it that it takes away from the experience. It really does, and it does throw you out of the movie. I'm sorry. Editing wise and special effects. Editing wise, the movie's about an hour and a half long. I guess it's passable. I was so bored like 2 times throughout the movie because nothing was really happening that I checked the time twice, and I hate doing that to movies. I really do. And the thing is, with the climax of the movie, it's like the last 5 to 8 minutes of the movie. I'm not even joking. Climax happens, then the end of the movie happens, and then credits. There was no time for anything to breathe. Everything was jumping from place to place to place, so there was no weight to anything. So when everyone was in these dire situations, you just did not care about anyone. So when you don't care about the characters of the story at hand, the movie seems slower than it actually is. So the hour and a half just seems super long. Special effects wise, like I said, regardless of the over-the-top gratuitous violence does not fit the story or the mood or the atmosphere or tone at all, some of the special effects are fine. And I do like some of the practical effects that they used. But the CGI blood spurts or gunshots, those did not mesh well, especially when you had like some interesting practical effects that you were using. Or maybe that was computer and it was just blended in so well. I don't know. That's usually the case sometimes. And I will say this movie does have one shot towards the end that's slow-mo. Even though I did not like the slow-mo in this movie, it was slow-mo. There was a shotgun blast to a certain private area on someone's body that was hilarious. I freaking loved that shot. I actually had to rewind it when the movie was done because I just love that shot so much. So that would be one of my favorite shots of the year for sure. So thank you for giving me that. Overall, guys, I think I've said enough. If you are you know, angry at me because this was supposed to be a B movie, this was supposed to be over the top, that's fine. I enjoy those movies. Like I just said in the beginning, I think Face Off is one of the cheesiest movies ever, but it is so much fun. And if you were going for that B over-the-top cheesy vibe, this movie was not fun. It really wasn't. Like there was nothing about it that just hooked me in with its silliness. It was just kind of like random and all over the place, and that's something completely different. So I like myself in cheesy movies. This is not one of them. It is boring. I think everyone is just fine in the movie. The story's all over the place. The characters don't really matter. I think in some parts it's lazy. I think some of the plot points are stupid. It's not a fun experience. Maybe if you're drunk and you're watching it at like 2 a.m. with your buddies on a Tuesday, sure. But I'm going to tell you guys to skip it, unfortunately. Even as a so bad it's good movie, I don't even think it's even on that level. So overall, guys, I do not like Arsenal whatsoever. It's my first introduction to 2017, God forbid. But you know what? It gave me a memorable shot, and it showed me that prosthetics on Nicolas Cage's nose can look like Pinocchio, and that makes my heart laugh inside. So I'm going to give Arsenal, unfortunately, a D+. So what did you guys think of Arsenal? Have you even heard of it? It's a new Nicolas Cage movie. That's all you gotta know. And I look forward to some Nicolas Cage movies, so don't get that twisted, folks. So D+ for me. So what about you guys? Let me know now down below in the comments what you thought of this movie, or if you're even looking forward to it. So that will do it for this movie review, guys. Sorry this was a long-winded one, but I had to explain myself because I know people are going to get very angry at this review. But I'm Chase Lee, reporting for DallasMovieScreens.com, and tune in next time for whatever I review next. I will see you guys later.